In today's video, we are going to talk about how much short-term savings should I have? Short-term savings provides that financial cushion for ourselves so that we can take care of any unexpected emergencies that come up. And it can also help us save for those short-term goals that we want to achieve. It's important that we have enough savings, but not too much savings so that we are not missing out on other investment opportunities. All right, if you've ever asked yourself, how much savings should I have? I'm going to answer that in today's video. This really does vary for everyone because everyone's situation is so different. I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to figure this out for yourself. And I'm also going to share my own viewpoint on how I figure out how much I should have in my short-term savings. All right, the number one reason we want to have a short-term savings is because we want an emergency fund. We want to have money accessible when an emergency comes up because we know it for sure, well, we just don't know when that emergency will happen. A lot of people recommend having 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses in your emergency fund. I tend to go with the lower amount with that 3 months worth of expenses, but it definitely depends on you and your own situation and what is going to allow you to sleep at night. Because of course, any emergency could happen. It could be a job loss, and you want to have a buffer in there that you feel comfortable with in order to take care of any expenses that you will have while you are out of a job. There's also different medical expenses that could come up that you have no idea about, and someone needs to go to the hospital, you need to pay your insurance deductible, or something could happen with your car, you would need to pay your auto deductible, or even something happening with your house and you'd have to pay your home insurance deductible. Think about different emergencies that could arise and determine how much you would feel comfortable having in your emergency fund to cover any of those emergencies or unexpected expenses. I met with a client not too long ago, and she was telling me she ended up moving across country to be closer to her mom because her mom had a health condition and she needed some help. So my client ended up quitting her job back east and moving out to Utah and taking care of her mom, and she was out of work for quite a while and she still needed money. So she was glad that she had some sort of emergency fund, but she didn't have quite enough. So of course, unexpected things are going to happen and we want to feel comfortable with the amount that we have in our emergency fund, but we don't want to keep too much in there because we still want to take advantage of other opportunities to make our money work for us. The second part of how much should I keep in my short-term savings has to do with your short-term goals. What is it that you are saving for right now? Are you saving for a down payment on a house that you want to purchase? Are you saving for a trip to Hawaii? Or are you saving up for a car? What are some of your short-term savings goals? And that way you can determine how much you will need to keep in your savings to achieve those short-term goals. I really like using Ally for my savings account, for my emergency fund, and any short-term goals that I have because they have different buckets that you can put your money in. It's all essentially in the same savings account, but you can divvy up your money into these little buckets. And that way you can name each bucket whatever your savings goal is, which makes it more exciting to save for that certain goal. Unless you have a bucket for taxes like I do, then it's not so exciting to save for that. But nonetheless, it helps us keep our money even more organized, and we can have different buckets for different short-term goals that we have. Comment below and tell me one thing you are saving for right now. And then part 3 of figuring out how much we should have in our short-term savings is to get an idea on what other people have recommended. There are a lot of financial experts out there, and I know that Susie Orman recommends keeping 8 months worth of your expenses in your savings account. And that would just be for your emergency fund only, and then whatever else you were saving for, you would need to have extra money saved on top of that. And then Dave Ramsey, he recommends anywhere from 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses to put in your emergency fund. And while we can get an idea from other financial experts and even those that we have seen be successful with their savings, we need to look at our own personal circumstances and determine the amount that would be right for us. And that is actually part 4. We want to assess our personal financial situation. You want to take into account your own monthly expenses, of course, and your own monthly income, and then take a look at what our own short-term goals are and exactly how much we want to keep in our emergency fund to be able to sleep at night. And also take a look at the stability of your job, or if you have your own business, how stable your income is. Does it fluctuate a lot month to month? Are you going to need a larger buffer? Or will you be okay with a smaller buffer? And then consider your own health situation. Are there medical expenses that are going to come up, or that you know that you already have? Or are you most likely going to have to pay your full deductible on your health insurance? And then also, of course, are other people dependent upon you? All of these different variables come into play when we are trying to figure out how much to keep in our short-term savings. So it is not a one-size-fits-all. Everyone is going to have a different answer that works the best for them. And I was talking to one of my clients recently, and we were talking about emergency funds and investing in the stock market, because we want to have an emergency fund, but we also don't want to have too much in there because we want to have money to invest in the stock market or in other types of investments. And then we were also talking about ways to take advantage when the market goes on sell. How can we invest some money when that is happening? And I had told him that I have taken money out of my emergency fund and put it in the stock market when things have been on sale. For example, when a certain pandemic hit and everything dropped, I took money from my emergency fund and I put it in the stock market. I was willing to take that risk because I looked at my own personal circumstances. I looked at my own financial situation, right? It is just me who I am taking care of, and I have other ways to access cash. So if an emergency did come up right after I took a lot of money out of my emergency fund and put it in the stock market, then I could put that emergency on my credit card and figure out how to make cash in about 30 days so that I wouldn't pay any interest on that credit card. Another thing I can do is even call my credit card company and ask if I can have a 0% interest rate for 12 months. I've done this before with my Discover It card, and they said yes. I told them I was making a large purchase. I was actually redoing flooring in 2 of my properties, and I wanted to just have time to pay that off instead of just doing a lump sum payment. So I had called Discover and asked if I could have a 0% interest rate for 12 months. I was making a large purchase, and they said yes. So I ended up putting my flooring on that credit card and just paid it off over time without paying any interest. So that could be an option for you. Or I could also open up another credit card that is a 0% interest rate for 12 to 18 months. And I could pay for an emergency that way and still not pay any interest and just build up that cash over the 12 to 18 month period and pay that off before I pay any interest. Also, there are other things I could do to make money. I could go get a part-time job if I needed to, or I could put another roommate in my place. I could also raise rents, or I could add something extra to sell in my business, or even raise my business rates, things like that. I have a lot of different options in order to create some cash. And also I have money in the stock market in a brokerage account, so I can always pull money out. Even if my investments are down, I still have money in there. I could pull them out and pay for an emergency. But not everyone has the same circumstances. I would rather have the majority of my money working for me right now than just sitting in a savings account and not earning that much interest. Yes, I do have it in a high yield savings account, but still it is not going to earn as much money as if I were to put it in the stock market. And another thing I want to add, if you are trying to decide how much to put toward a short-term savings goal and how much should you be investing, you can actually just do a percentage every time you make money, whether you're getting a paycheck or whether you are running your own business and receiving money from that. Every time you get paid, you can just say, okay, I'm going to put 50% toward my short-term savings goal and 50% toward investing. or you can do 60-40, whatever percentage you want to. But that way you're doing both at the same time. You're getting your money working for you, and then you're also saving for your short-term savings goals. And I go into this a little bit more in another video, so I will leave a link to that above and you can check that out later on. And if you are thinking, okay, I have my emergency fund and I'm doing pretty well with saving for my short-term goals, but I really want to focus on investing, I have a free masterclass about investing in the stock market. I will leave a link to that below in the description. You can click on that and watch the free masterclass. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more great content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.